The JW Speaker 8800 LED headlight is probably the most popular and world famous 4x6 LED replacement headlight out there. Nowadays there's a bunch of them, and a lot of them knocked off the JW Speaker 8800. In this video we're going to show you some up close details about what makes these headlights special, why you should put them on your next project, and how they compare to an original sealed beam 4x6. The 8800 Evolution 2 is what's out now. That's the newest model. It's what you see in front of me here. The cool thing is they come in a black version or a chrome version. They come in a heated lens version or a non-heated lens version. If you needed the heated lens for traveling up north in the ice and snow, it's well worth the little extra money that they cost. If you check out our other video, you can actually see us testing the heated function to show you how well it works. My name's Chris with Headlight Revolution. Please subscribe to our channel so you don't miss the other lighting reviews we do on JW Speaker and other sealed beam headlights. These headlights are designed to replace a sealed beam 4x6 housing. And that's what we have here. It's all glass, it's incandescent halogen, it does not have a replaceable bulb. If you have something like this on your vehicle, the JW Speaker 8800 is the upgrade for that application. Now they only come in single beam. That means one does low beam and one does high beam. If you have a dual beam 4x6, your outboard low beam headlights will now be single beam. That's okay. They're so bright that you're not going to miss that dual beam function on your outboard low beam headlights. There's a lot going on this headlight if you get a close look. The first thing you notice is all the different projectors and optics that the light has. This is the low beam that's available in black or chrome with a heated lens variant for either one. Now they don't just have all these different projectors for a style or just to be interesting looking. They have all the different projectors so they can make a complex beam pattern that puts the light in exactly the right places for the best driving experience. All of these turn on for low beam. You've got the large center projector, you have the two smaller center projectors, and then the two D-shaped projectors, and each of them have LEDs behind them. And when you turn them on, you get the whole thing lights up, and it's amazing. We'll show you that in just a second. If you look at the lens on either side embossed in the clear lens, it says DOT. That way when you're doing inspection, they know that these are legal. Behind the lens, on the actual inner bezel, you have the JW Speaker logo, and it says Model 8800. Down in this corner, you also have some manufacturing letters embossed in the bezel, including the E11 stamp. And then down in the other corner, there's some interesting information. It says LVOR, which means visually optically right. LED, which is the light source. SAE, which is another indicator of how it can be used on public streets. It also says HL and 09, and it reads 40 watts max, which means these headlights will never draw more than 40 watts of power. The only difference between the construction of the heated version and the non-heated version is the defroster strips that are built into the lens, which turn on automatically, and they have this sensor bracket on the far side that takes up about 1/4 inch of inner bezel real estate. This doesn't affect lighting performance at all. So it just changes the way it looks, and it adds a whole new function to it. The other cool thing about the heated lens is that this strip is a heat sensor. When it senses that the defroster strip needs to turn on, it turns on, and there's a small LED indicator that tells you it's working. The back side of the headlights is also very impressive. You can see that the heat sink has been powder coated in this nice glossy black. It looks classy and finished. It has a moisture vent up here. Don't take that off. That's to safely allow any condensation to come out. And then in true JW Speaker fashion, they have stickers that tell you exactly when this particular headlight was made. It's the beginning of April today, and the sticker says February 1st, 2017. So it's a couple months on the shelf. The other new thing about this headlight is it has a removable connector. It's a very nice high quality connector with good waterproofing, high quality wires, and another high quality connector that plugs into the vehicle. You have 3 wires, black, white, and yellow. And it says low beam lamp must be the outboard/upper lamp position on vehicle. Now it has 3 wires, but it's a low beam. Let me explain what that's all about. Like I said earlier, a lot of times you'll have a dual beam outboard low beam headlight. That means it stays on when you go to high beam, and not only does it stay on, but it also switches to high beam. So they thought of that to make sure that this light never turns off. The wires all keep it on whether you're on low beam or high beam. If you're on the middle pin for a traditional low beam, it stays on, and if you switch to the outside pin for high beam, it switches on. So it doesn't matter if you have a single beam headlight or a dual beam headlight, this low beam is set up and ready to go to work in either setup. The high beam has a lot of the same features as the low beam in terms of design. The big major change is, of course, the optics. We don't have so many LEDs happening at the same time to create a really complex low beam pattern. You have one central large LED projector, and then on either side you have D-shaped projectors to finish out the beam pattern. Now again, just like the low beam, the heated lens version of this headlight uses some real estate on the far outside edge for the temperature sensor to turn the defrost on and off, but again, it doesn't affect the light output. Now, you've got all the same type of manufacturing marks in here as the low beam. You've got the DOT here, you have the JW speaker light on the inside down here, you have some different letters and numbers down here, and some more legal information on this side. They're all pretty much the same. If you're looking at other LED headlights and they don't have some of this type of info, you might want to second guess your purchase to make sure you're buying a high quality product. On the back side, we have a very similar heat sink design of the low beam. We still have a moisture vent. You still have the removable wire harness. And again, you've got stickers that tell the date it was manufactured. In terms of fitment into the original housing, JW Speaker did a really good job at making sure they're going to mount in the correct location and fit properly. If you notice in the four corners of the original seal beam housing, there's some stanchions that help keep it in place. It's also actually smaller than the original seal beam. The only big difference is that the front of it is more domed, and that shouldn't matter because your retaining bezel is going to go around the perimeter, which is not affected by the dome shape of the lens. And in fact, the dome shape of the lens is what helps keep water, ice, and snow from accumulating on the lens of the headlight. This is a brand new Wagner brand incandescent sealed beam halogen headlight bulb. It's not dimmed down to a low voltage, it's not blackened on the front, it's not old and used, it's brand new out of the box, and this is what we get. No wonder people want to upgrade their headlights to something better. In this test, we put the headlight at about 20 feet away from the wall, and we use a digital lux meter to find the brightest spot in the beam pattern for comparison. The low beam on this halogen headlight made 100 maximum lux. Now when we switch this headlight to high beam, it actually looks like something useful. It actually jumps up to 600 lux. The high beam is 6 times brighter than the original low beam. Let's plug in the JW Speaker low beam and see how they compare. Now this is why the JW Speaker 8800 is the world's best-selling LED 4x6 headlight. This is amazing. Which one would you rather drive behind? This or that old incandescent sealed beam? The original low beam was 100 lux at 20 feet. The JW Speaker headlight made 1,290 lux at 20 feet. Given the fact that this thing is 10 times brighter than the stock headlight, it's DOT approved and has this massive wide beam pattern, why wouldn't you want to upgrade to this setup? Can you believe how huge and how bright this high beam is? This blows the original high beam out of the water. Do you see the center section out near the edges that kind of looks like a dark shadow? When we used the lux meter, that area was as bright as the original incandescent low beam. How unbelievably good is this headlight? You know, you've got that flood, that arcing that goes in the top and bottom around the hot spot, and that's what JW Speaker calls their comfort light. See, the way they designed this headlight is you've got that really wildly bright hot spot right in the middle, and that's going to go way down range like a light bar. And then the two D-shaped projectors on either side of that central projector are creating your comfort lighting to illuminate a little bit on the road ahead of you and maybe the trees and the ditches. Now in terms of brightness, it's really quite unbelievable. The original sealed beam high beam was only 600 maximum lux. The brightest spot on the JW speaker high beam is 2,440 maximum lux at the exact same distance. What an upgrade. The JW Speaker 8800 Evolution 2 is by far one of the best-selling 4x6 LED headlights out there because it's one of the best performing. Trust me, the knockoffs don't even come close. If you have any questions about these headlights that we didn't address in this video, please leave a comment. You can also find us at www.headlightrevolution.com, Facebook, Instagram, and Google+. Please subscribe so you don't miss our next lighting review video, and thank you for watching.